right, YouTube, I am super excited today we are doing Reddit reply, but usually we go over like 3, 4, 5 topics. Today we're doing one. We are doing one topic, and that is it today because it is, I think, the greatest topic that's been put up on Reddit so far. And that is, they want your unpopular Marvel Champions opinions. This is what I come for Reddit for. This is what I want to see. So they start off there, and I am going to rip through a bunch of these. Probably not all of them or anything like that, but I'm going to rip through a bunch of them and explain why they're right or wrong. And look, this is just my opinion on things. Let me know your opinions down below on all this stuff. It's not to discredit them or, whatever. It's just whether I agree with them or not. And then at the very end, I will do my 10 hot takes, and you all can write if you like them or not. So let's start with the very first one. They start with War Machine's the top 5 hero in terms of strength and power. That is false. Well, not Wolverine. War Machine. War Machine is not that good, in my opinion, especially for solo. The fact that you have to have 2 different resources just ruins War Machine, in my opinion. That you have to worry about ammo counters and you have to worry about the cost of things. The cost of things should have been greatly reduced, or it should have been one or the other. I think it would have been the more interesting design choice with War Machine, right? You can use ammo counters, or you could just use cost, because you're forced to flip down to get more ammo counters. It's really hard to get them on his hero side. So I'm not a big fan of War Machine. I don't think it's that good. We need more heroes with unique mechanics, more Spider and Storm and less Wolverine. We need more villains. All right, so mechanics, I agree. I think that's what makes this game interesting and good. The problem is, a lot of times people get tired of those mechanics, right? Like, there is a time when Doctor Strange's Invocation deck was considered like a unique mechanic, and now it's just like, okay, it's just 5 cards, right? But at the time, it was unique. That's the only problem, is eventually unique mechanics become stale, and you have to just keep reinventing something. But I do agree with the premise of it. We need more villains, 100%. We need more villains. I think we're at a good spot now. I think with the X-Men box, they did a really good job of getting out some good villains for us there. But yeah. So I definitely think we need more. Okay, so lower and mid-tier heroes are more fun than top-tier heroes. 100% agree. I think a lot of the top-tier heroes are kind of boring. Even though I like playing at some of them, the more interesting deck-building aspects, the more fun games, right, the more challenging games, I do think are done with the lower and mid-tier heroes. So I 100% agree with that. Okay. This person in general deserves like a ribbon or an award or something, because their hot takes are fantastic. And we're going to go through these because I think these are really good. Chump blocking is bad for the design of the game, more so than stun and confuse. Agreed. Chump blocking makes things just too easy and too samey. I like that they're kind of doing punishments on future things, right? Making that if an ally gets captured or anything like that, that chump blocking isn't always your best option. I don't think they should try to negate it completely, but I like that they're kind of focusing on that a bit more. All the S and A rank heroes are not that fun to play after the initial plays. Mostly agree, right? Especially S tier heroes, I think, are really boring after a while, because you're just doing the same exact thing over and over and over. A rank, I'm in and out, but it depends on how you rank your heroes, right? How you rank your heroes might be different than how I rank them. They need to stop making heroes with one thwart that also rely on flipping. I get it. I get why they do it. I think it's just a different challenge with the hero, so I'm not like opposed to it. But I'm not like against it either. I don't really care about getting the defenders. I just want Daredevil. I also don't care about Fantastic Four whenever we get them, and probably pass on that wave. It's mind-boggling to me that they haven't done a Daredevil cycle yet. Like that it makes no sense. It really makes no sense to me. That's a huge one. Fantastic Four, I'm gonna get, but I just don't really care. I don't think Gambit is going to be that good of a hero to play in true solo. We'll see. I disagree. I think Gambit will be good. I don't think Gambit's gonna be as good as people think, but I think it's going to be good. I don't think the Surge is a bad mechanic. It's just been used poorly. So agreed. And I think Ronin is what really pushed it through. And I think they've said this in the past in an interview or something, that they didn't know what to do for Ronin to make him so difficult. So they just kept throwing in Surge, right? They didn't have an idea, just put a Surge on it, right? Bad design. Hawkeye does not need his quiver to be functional, only his bow. Maybe, yeah, I could see that. The problem with Hawkeye is you got to keep him alive. That's the biggest issue with Hawkeye. Hulk is getting to the point of being fine with the current card pool. I do agree. I'd even go as far as saying that he is better than She-Hulk in some cases, and definitely better than Valkyrie. Disagree. Valkyrie is the GOAT. Adam Warlock, while solved, tutor deck, is more fun to play than a lot of heroes. Disagree. Which I think kind of contradicts his S and A tier thing after initial plays, because Adam Warlock with the quote unquote solved deck, still arguments if that's solved or not. But I do think Adam Warlock is solved because of the tutor deck. I think he's less fun because you have to play the same exact deck. And I really don't like deck building for 4 aspects at once. Like Spider-Woman pushes it perfectly with 2. 4 is just too much. I enjoy Wasp more than Ant-Man. Agreed 100%. I still think Wasp is the better hero than the 2. Cyclops is more fun in aggression than leadership. I haven't played enough Cyclops. Maybe. I just haven't played enough. Justice is more boring than leadership in play in true solo. Hard pass. Disagree with you. Justice is the best, and leadership, I we'll get into that more later. So we scroll down a bit. Leadership is my least favorite aspect, and it's not even close. Agreed 100%. Hulk is a lot of fun to play. I agree with this. We recently streamed Hulk on Twitch, over on Twitch, and I did a basic Hulk deck. And it was more fun to play than some of the other newer heroes. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I have a soft spot for Hulk. He is one of my most played heroes because I just like punishment. But whatever. He's fine. I enjoy it. Ariel should have been designed as a keyword with its own mechanic rather than just a trait. Agreed 100%. It feels like Ariel, they like kind of had some plans for it and then they didn't. And then they kind of took off with Ariel. They're like, oh, it's kind of hard to do it. So we'll make these really strong cards and make it like impossible, right? Like Dive Bomb, right? When you think about early heroes, it was tough. Like for Iron Man to get Ariel, he had to like spend a resource and have like a certain upgrade, right? I feel like that was like designed together versus now they just give anyone Ariel, it seems, and some people just have it to begin with so they can just Dive Bomb right away and it makes them way more powerful than they probably should be. Given the casual demographic, the game tries to skew it requires too meticulous of a reading of cards. The worst 2 examples are when revealed versus put into play and resource generators versus action resources. So here's the thing. I agree with the idea of what they're saying. I disagree with the examples. When revealed and versus put into play, I think are actually 2 very key differential things. I think it helped a lot with Zola. Resource generators versus action resources, I'm fine with it. It's kind of weird that certain ones can be used at certain times and not the others. Like that is kind of weird. But I do agree with the too meticulous of reading of its cards because there were so many times when you can read a card several times and you're like, okay, I feel like I know what the card should do, but the way it's worded, right, is different. So this is where I'll get into this later on, but I feel like this is one of the big issues, especially with like Hall of Heroes, right? I think this is a big issue because there's so much with that where depending on how you read it and depending on how you read the words, it means something completely different to every like person. And I think that's kind of rough. Okay. Though Galaxy's Most Wanted was a big jump in difficulty from Rise of Red Skull, I liked it overall. It felt refreshing at the time with various scenarios. So here's the thing. Looking back, Galaxies now isn't that bad. But at the time, right, we had one big box out. So we had 5 villains. We had 3 in the base set. And then I think we had 2 scenario packs, Kang and Green Goblin, I think. So 10 villains, right? Galaxies was increasing our villain count by 50%. And the fact is, at the time, they were all pretty like annoying and bad, right? Drang was okay. Collector 1 and 2, I'm sorry, still not great design. Nebula wasn't bad at the time, but now looking back, I think Nebula is actually pretty bad. Me personally was just looking for something so like desperately like to be good. And I wanted that to be, and Ronin was a mess. I think that was the most disappointing thing is that we were supposed to get a 50% increase basically of villains, and most of them were trash, and that was the issue. Now that we have like X-Men box out there that has really good villains, I think that it's better now, right? It's better to like look back and be like, okay, they're not so bad because we have good enough villains now. There's not enough cards. I don't know about that. Collector 1 and 2 are some of the most refreshing scenario designs, and only Mojo is taking away that title. They were up there with Hella. No, I hard disagree with this. Collector 1, I like the idea, but I think it was poorly executed. And I think we're seeing that with the X-Men, right? The whole Sentinel capture thing, when they capture your allies if you use them as chump blockers, I think is a more interesting design than Collector. Like whenever a card leaves play, it goes into the collection, including his own, which is ridiculous that he can collect his own cards. It's dumb. I'm sorry. It's not good design. It's annoying. And it feels like that should have been like worked out. If it was just your cards personally, I think it would have been better. The fact that it was his cards, that he could collect his own cards, you already have your own cards. Like the fact that he would collect his own cards, I think was bad. And that's the biggest issue with it. And I think we'll see again, like I think it was the Sentinel villain, if I remember correctly. And if I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. I think that was better done where again, it's your allies, you're using it as a choice, as a chump blocker, and it's to like stop the whole chump blocking idea too, which I think is good. Collector 2, I don't think is that interesting because you just play Justice, and it's really easy to like get through Collector 2 pretty fast in Justice. I know people love Mojo. I think Mojo's fine. I think it's good. I don't know. Like, I guess he's up there. I don't know. I think Ronan is fun to play against. I agree now. Back then, no. It's designed to be it's designed to be appealing to collect more than appealing to play. Maybe. I don't know. I play this game a lot, so I don't know. I'm tossed about this. The sweet spot is the top 15% of the content they made. No. No, I feel like I don't like that. I feel like I like everything else. Because it depends what you mean the top 15% of the content they made. Like, S tier is the only thing worth doing, and the top villains are the only thing worth doing? Because I disagree with that. Or is only 15% of all the content worth playing? Because I also disagree with that, I think. There's about like 15% that I think is just never worth playing. So I think I'm the opposite way. Okay, not sure mine are unpopular or hot takes, but here we go. There's no such thing as support aspects and support-focused decks in multiplayer. Well, that's not true. There is, because I built them. Every aspect is entirely capable of winning solo, and further, that's true, I do agree with that. If you're focusing on supporting other heroes, you're inherently underperforming. Disagree about that. The reason being is because Nelson and I have done this in particular, where we stacked, I think it was Cosmo, if I remember correctly, and we used a bunch of his cards, a bunch of my cards, and Cosmo was able to slaughter everything on the board, right? There is a way to play the game where you are support. And the thing is, like, it depends on what you mean by winning the game, right? The way you win the game, essentially, is by getting the villain down to 0. Justice inherently cannot do that, right? Not that they can't. Obviously, there's cards that do damage, but their job is to keep the threat down so you don't lose. So they're not there to win you the game. They're there to not make sure you don't lose the game, right? So by definition, that's supporting the game. That's not winning it for them. So I know I'm kind of going to like weird semantic things here, and I get what they're trying to say, that like supporting, I think, other aspects I agree with, but there are support like I do think Justice is a support aspect realistically, because there are Justice cards that could do damage, but the primary focus of Justice is to stop the game from being lost through threat, right? So it's supporting the game. No hero is truly bad. They aren't all equal, but how a hero performs is so highly dependent on the yes, 100% agree with this. I don't believe there is such a thing as a truly bad hero. I really don't. I think some are tougher than others, and I think some are easier than others, right? The same way, I don't think that there is a perfect hero. I know some people do. I do not agree that there's a perfect hero. I think there's heroes that are just much simpler and easier to grasp than other heroes. She-Hulk is great and a well-designed hero. I really do like She-Hulk. I don't know if she's well-designed, but I do like her design. I've really grown to appreciate it over time. So, preemptive truce, whatever. The support thing they get into for a while. Hulk can be fixed with the Gamma trait cards easily. Play if your character has the Gamma trait. Set up permanent. This character deals 50,000 damage when it attacks, piercing, and overkill. 100% agree on that. That is how you fix Hulk. Now, again, I want to reiterate. I think I brought this up at the beginning, but if not, I'm not here to attack anyone's opinions. I'm just giving my responses to hot takes. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm happy that they share their opinion because I think this is fun. I think this is really awesome. So we're going to close this out because I think it's only fair to give my top 10 hot takes, right? I think there's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, my top 10 hot takes. I think it's only fair to give my top 10. I'm not going to try to justify them. I'm just going to do what these people did and just give them. And you all can feel free to tear into them down below in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to, hit the join membership button because I would appreciate that too if you want to look at different ways to support this channel so that we can keep improving and keep growing into next year. Okay, here we go. Top 10. Valkyrie isn't that bad. Ronan is interesting now. Groot is OP in Justice. Spider-Ham is stronger than Doctor Strange. We are getting too much content at this point. Web Warriors are stronger than the X-Men heroes. The constant rules adjustments in Hall of Heroes makes the barrier entry too high, and I think it's also partially ruining the game, but I didn't want to take it that far, but I think we're getting there to that point. Infinity Gauntlet was only designed for the Thanos and was ruined by Loki, and ruined not only Loki's design, but ruined Infinity Gauntlet for a lot of people. We have too many modular sets, and the basic aspect is more interesting than leadership. Those are my hot takes. Comment down below. Please don't destroy me too bad. Okay. They're just what I think. They're just my opinion. Please don't do anything too bad. All right. I'm sorry.